The rain hammered the church roof like God's own judgment, drowning out the eulogies, but not the echo of Ben's laugh in my head, the one he'd let loose right before I slammed the door on him for the last time. I clutched the edge of the pew, knuckles white, staring at the mahogany casket where my twin brother lay, his face powdered pale under the stained glass glow, looking nothing like the kid who'd shared my womb, my secrets, my everything until I decided he wasn't worth it anymore. And now, as the priest droned on about eternal light, all I could think was how I'd trade every straight-laced achievement in my life to hear him call me Logan, you idiot, one more time, if only to beg forgiveness for turning my back on the only blood I ever truly loved. We were born 2 minutes apart in a cramped hospital room in suburban Chicago, back in the summer of '92, when the world still felt like it belonged to straight white boys like us. Mom used to say we were her miracles, two halves of the same heartbeat, indistinguishable except for the way Ben's left ear stuck out a little more than mine. We grew up glued at the hip. Little league games where I'd pitch and he'd catch, backyard forts built from stolen lumber, and late-night confessions under the covers about girls we swore we'd marry someday. Our dad, a burly cop with a mustache that could scare off burglars, called us his dynamic duo. And for a while, that's what we were. High school hit like a freight train. I was the golden boy, captain of the football team, homecoming king, the guy every girl whispered about in the halls. Ben? He was quieter, artsy, always sketching in his notebook instead of chasing tail at parties. I didn't notice the shift at first, not until junior year when I walked in on him kissing Tommy Riley in the locker room showers after practice. The water was still running, steam curling up like smoke from hell, and Ben's eyes met mine over Tommy's shoulder, wide, terrified, pleading. Logan, wait, he'd started, but I was already bolting, while rising in my throat. Not because I hated him, I loved him, God, I did, but because in that moment, everything I'd been taught crashed down. Dad's slurs over dinner about those freaks on TV ruining the family. The church sermons thundering about sin and fire. The locker room jokes that suddenly weren't funny anymore. Ben was my mirror, my better half, and now he was cracked, tainted. I avoided him for weeks. When he cornered me in the garage one night, rain pounding the tin roof just like today, he whispered, "It's not a choice, Log. It's me. All of me." I shoved him away, hard enough to bruise his shoulder. "Then you're not my brother anymore. You're disgusting." The words tasted like ash, but they spilled out anyway, fueled by fear of what it said about me, loving someone so broken. We graduated, and I fled to Northwestern on a full ride, burying myself in frat parties and a string of girlfriends who made me feel normal. Ben stayed local, enrolling at the Art Institute of Chicago, but our paths diverged like forks in a lightning-struck tree. Holiday dinners were minefields. Mom would seat us at opposite ends of the table, Dad grunting about phases, while Ben stared at his plate, silent. The last straw came at Christmas 15. I'd just gotten engaged to Sarah, the all-American girl from my poli-sci class. Blonde, ambitious, the kind of wife who'd make Dad proud. Ben showed up with a guy on his arm, some painter named Alex with tattoos snaking up his neck and a laugh that filled the room. Dad exploded before dessert. "Not under my roof, Benjamin. You want to parade that filth? Do it on the streets." Ben stood, chin high, and said, "It's not filth, Dad. It's love." I could have backed him. Hell, I should have. But Sarah's hand tightened on my knee under the table, her whisper hot in my ear. "Say something, Logan. For us." So I did. "Ben, just stop. You're embarrassing everyone. Go live your life, but leave the family out of it." He looked at me then, really looked, like I was the stranger. "You too, huh? Fine. Consider me gone." He walked out into the snow, Alex trailing behind, and that was it. No calls, no texts, no twins. I told myself it was for the best, built my life brick by straight brick. Married Sarah in a big backyard wedding in 17, landed a job at a law firm in the Loop, bought a starter house in Lincoln Park. We talked kids someday, the American dream on steroids. Ben? I heard whispers through Mom before Dad's heart attack in 19 shut her up too. He was thriving in New York, gallery shows, a loft in Brooklyn. Good for him, I thought, shoving the ache down deep. Years blurred. By 2023, I was partner track, Sarah climbing the corporate ladder at her marketing firm, Our social media feed a highlight reel of brunches and beach vacations. Ben's name surfaced once, at Mom's funeral in 21. Cancer, quick and cruel. She'd left me her rosary, him her sketchbooks, a quiet plea for reconciliation I ignored. Then, last month, the call came from a lawyer in Manhattan. Mr. Harper? I'm afraid your brother Benjamin passed away. Car accident. Drunk driver. We're executors of his estate. The world tilted. I flew out the next day, Sarah begging me to stay. We have the Jensen dinner, Logan, but guilt clawed at my gut like a feral cat. The funeral was small, artsy types in black berets mingling with a handful of family stragglers. No dad, no mom. Just me in my ill-fitting suit, staring at Ben's photo on the program. Older, lines around his eyes, but that same crooked smile. Alex was there, hollow-cheeked, clutching a program like a lifeline. He cornered me after, voice raw. He talked about you, even after everything. Said you were the brave one. Brave? I wanted to laugh, to punch the wall. Instead, I muttered condolences and slipped out for air, the New York rain mixing with tears I hadn't shed in years. That's when the lawyer pulled me aside, handing over a manila envelope thick as a Bible. Ben's will. And there's a child. Adopted last year. A boy, Eli. 3 months old when Ben brought him home from foster care. Alex is the other father, but complications. My brain short-circuited. A child? Ben, with a kid? The pieces slammed together. Ben's posts I'd stalked once, drunk and lonely. A nursery reveal, baby booties on Instagram. I'd scrolled past, bitter, thinking it was some queer stunt to one-up me. But now, the lawyer's words sank in. Ben named you as co-guardian, Mr. Harper, in case anything happened to both him and Alex. Alex, he's not in a state. Hospitalized after the crash, brain trauma. Unclear if he'll recover. Eli, a nephew. My blood. The rain picked up, soaking my shirt, but I couldn't move. All those years I'd cut Ben out, convinced his life was a cautionary tale of deviance, and he'd built this love, legacy, without me. And now he was gone, leaving a piece of himself in a world that had rejected him. I flew back to Chicago that night, envelope burning a hole in my briefcase. Sarah met me at the door, eyes sharp. How was it? Quick and painless. I collapsed on the couch, spilling it all. The will, the baby, the mess. Her face hardened like concrete setting. Logan, we can't. We're not equipped for that. And think about it, a gay couple's kid? What would people say? Our life, our plans. Her words stung, echoing my own from a decade ago. But Eli's photo tumbled out. Chubby cheeks, Ben's eyes staring back, tiny fist curled like he was reaching for something lost. I dreamed of him that night, of Ben holding him in that loft, whispering stories of a brother who'd failed them both. The next morning, I called the lawyer. Tell me about Eli. His voice crackled over the line. Sweet kid, placed with a temporary foster family in Brooklyn while we sort custody. Ben wanted him with family, specifically you, if Alex couldn't. But there's paperwork, evaluations. And Ben left letters. For you, for the boy. Letters. Secrets in ink. I booked a flight back east that afternoon, Sarah's protests chasing me to the airport. This is insane, Logan. You're throwing everything away for a ghost. Maybe she was right. But as the plane climbed over Lake Michigan, I pressed my forehead to the window, whispering to the clouds, I'm sorry, Ben. God, I'm so sorry. Brooklyn hit me like a fever dream. Brownstones crammed with hipsters and strollers, the air thick with coffee and exhaust. The foster home was a narrow row house off Atlantic Avenue, the kind of place that smelled like curry and baby powder. Mrs. Patel, a no-nonsense Indian woman in her 50s, led me to the living room where Eli sat in a bouncer, gnawing on a teething ring. He was 18 months now, all curls and dimples, with Ben's hazel eyes and a suspicious squint that pierced right through me. He don't know you, Mrs. Patel said matter-of-factly, handing me a bottle. But babies sense heart. You got one. I nodded, throat tight, scooping him up awkwardly. He stiffened at first, then relaxed, his tiny hand patting my cheek like he was testing for cracks. We played on the rug, blocks tumbling, his giggles pulling at something dormant in my chest. For an hour, it was just us, the world outside fading to static. Then the social worker arrived, clipboard in hand, launching into the grilling. My job, my marriage, my lifestyle compatibility. I faltered on that last one, the word twisting like a knife. I'm stable, I said. Family man. I can give him a home. She eyed me. Ben's notes say you're estranged. Why now? Because I'm a coward who needs redemption. Because he's my brother's son. My family. The evaluation dragged. Home studies, interviews, Sarah flying out for a joint session where she smiled through gritted teeth, cooing over Eli while whispering later, he's cute. But this isn't us, Logan. We're not cut out for whatever this represents. Her hesitation hung heavy, laced with the same fear I'd weaponized against Ben. That night, in a sterile hotel near the courthouse, I cracked open Ben's letter. Logan, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and you're holding the pieces. I don't hate you. I never could. You were my shield, my echo, even when you turned away. Eli's my heart. Adopted him after Alex, and I decided to build what we couldn't find. He's got your stubborn chin, did you know? Raise him if you can. Teach him love doesn't come with conditions. Forgive yourself, brother. I already have. Ben. Tears blurred the ink. He forgave me. After the slurs, the silence, the abandonment, I clutched the paper, sobbing into the pillow until dawn, Eli's face haunting me. But redemption isn't a straight line. The real storm hit when Alex's family surfaced, his conservative Catholic parents from Queens, lawyers in tow, claiming primary custody. We've got the resources, Mrs. Rivera argued in court, her voice steel. Logan's a stranger. And frankly, with his brothers. History, is that the environment we want? The judge, a stern woman with silver hair, nodded thoughtfully. Mr. Harper, your application is compelling, but co-parenting with Mr. Vasquez's family could be ideal. Thoughts? I stood, voice cracking. Ben chose me. Us. That's what matters. But doubt gnawed. Sarah's texts piling up. Come home. This is destroying us. The Rivera's lawyer unearthed old emails, my words to Ben twisted into evidence of hostility toward the child's upbringing. The gallery gasped when he read mine aloud. You're disgusting. Sarah's hand found mine under the table, but it felt like pity, not partnership. That night, alone with Eli in the foster home, Mrs. Patel had relented for a supervised visit. I broke. He babbled dada, reaching for a toy truck, and I flashed to Ben teaching him that word, Alex laughing beside them. What right did I have? A man who'd mocked their love, now begging for scraps? I called Sarah at 2 a.m. I can't do this to you. To us. Her relief flooded the line. Finally, book the flight, honey. We'll try again, for our family. But as I hung up, Eli stirred in his crib, whimpering. I picked him up, rocking him under the hallway light, his warmth seeping into the cold hollow of my chest. I'm sorry, little man, I whispered. Uncle Logan's a mess. The climax crashed 2 days later, a bombshell in the lawyer's office. Alex had woken, miraculously, partially, but the brain injury left him childlike, unable to parent. His parents doubled down, but then Ben's true secret unraveled. A video will, hidden in the estate files, played on a laptop screen. Ben's face filled the frame, gaunt from chemo he'd hidden. Cancer, stage 4, the accident a mercy crash after a bad scan. Logan, he rasped, Eli gurgling off-screen. If Alex can't, it's you. Not for guilt. For him. I lied about the estrangement in the adoption papers, said we were close. Judge bought it. My one white lie. Raise him right. Love like I loved you, flaws and all. The room spun. Cancer. He'd been dying alone, protecting Eli's future with forged bonds. The Riveras blanched, their lawyer stammered. This changes nothing. Everything. I roared, slamming the table. He trusted me. Me. Fury boiled. At Ben for hiding. At myself for deserving it. At a world that drove him to silence. Sarah called mid-meeting. I let it ring, then answered later, voice steady. I'm staying. For Eli. For Ben. If that's not your dream anymore. I'm sorry. Her pause stretched eternal. I love you, Logan. But I can't love this version. Click. Betrayal's sharp edge, but mine this time. The judge ruled next week. Me, full custody, with visitation for the Riveras. Eli came home to a sublet in Brooklyn, me fumbling bottles and bedtime stories. Ben's sketchbooks my Bible. Months blurred into rhythm. Park walks where Eli chased pigeons, his laughter echoing Ben's. I dated tentatively. A barista named Mike who understood loss, his kiss tentative under string lights one night, tasting like possibility. But the real romance was Eli's trust, blooming slow as spring in the city. One evening, as fireflies danced over the East River, our most sacred spot, Ben's letter tucked in my pocket, I held Eli close, his head on my shoulder, and whispered, "We got this, kid. Your dad's. They'd be proud. Forgiveness isn't a destination. It's the daily grind of showing up." Ben's ghost lingers. In Eli's smirk. In the art class I enrolled us in. In the pride flag I hung defiantly in the window. I mocked my twin, cut the cord, but death stitched it back, frayed and true. And in raising his son, I raise us all, flawed, fierce, finally whole. The sublet smelled like fresh paint and regret when Eli and I first settled in. Boxes stacked like accusations against the exposed brick walls. Ben's loft had been 2 blocks away, a sun-drenched space overlooking the Williamsburg Bridge, filled with canvases splashed in defiant colors, ochres and indigos that screamed what words never could. I'd visited once, uninvited, 5 years back, during a business trip I lied to Sarah about. Peered through the window like a thief, seeing Ben and Alex tangled on the couch, Eli not yet a dream, their laughter filtering through the glass. I'd turned away, gut twisting with envy and shame, convinced their happiness was a mirage built on sand. Now, it was my reality. Sippy cups on the counter, a high chair scarred from teething battles, and nights where Eli's cries pierced the dark like Ben's unanswered calls. Social services checked in weekly, a parade of clipboards and concerned nods. "You're adapting well, Mr. Harper," the caseworker said one afternoon, watching Eli stack blocks into a wobbly tower. "But therapy's mandatory. For you both." Therapy. The word conjured shrinks in tweed, probing my psyche like it was a crime scene. But Dr. Elena Vasquez, no relation to Alex, thank God, was a force, short, sharp-eyed, with a Bronx accent that cut through bullshit. Our first session, Eli napping in the corner playpen, she leaned forward. "Why him, Logan? Why fight for a kid you barely know, after ghosting his father?" I shifted, the leather chair creaking under me. "Guilt. Redemption. Pick your poison." She didn't laugh. "Guilt's a chain. Redemption's a myth. What's the truth?" "The truth? It's spilled in fits. Dad's belt cracking after Ben's coming out. The welts we both hid under long sleeves. My college hookups, frantic and joyless, chasing normalcy like a dog after its tail. Sarah's ultimatum post-ruling. Her bags packed for her sisters in Milwaukee. I thought marriage was forever. I'd begged over the phone, Eli's coos in the background. "It was," she'd said, voice brittle, "until you chose ghosts over us." Dr. Vasquez nodded. Explosions came anyway. The Riveras appealed, dredging up more dirt. Ben's unstable finances from gallery dry spells. Alex's pre-crash bar tabs. My own homophobic history via those emails. Tabloids sniffed blood. Twins' tragic custody war. Straight bro battles, queer legacy. Splashed across the post. My firm's partners side-eyeing me in meetings via Zoom. "Handle it discreetly, Harper," the senior partner growled. "We bill for family law, not scandals." Work fractured next. I'd clawed up from intern to associate on billable hours and backroom handshakes, the kind of Chicago machine that rewarded straight shooters. Now, clients whispered, pulling cases. Not sure about that, firms. Optics. I doubled down, nights blurring into depositions while Eli stayed with Mrs. Patel, her hugs lingering like lifelines. One evening, post a brutal hearing where the Riveras priest testified about traditional values, I collapsed on the subway home, badge flashing gold in the fluorescent hum. Mike the barista was waiting at the coffee shop around the corner. Our ritual stop for Eli's organic puffs and my black drip. Tall, with a fade haircut and forearms inked with literary quotes, he'd slipped me his number after a particularly zombie-like order. "You look like you need more than caffeine," he'd said, grin crooked. We'd started slow, park bench chats, Eli between us on the swings, Mike's stories of growing up queer in Queens pulling at my straight man armor. That night, rain slicking the streets, he walked us home. "Rough day?" he asked, umbrella shielding Eli's stroller. I nodded, throat tight. They called Ben a deviant. In court, like his love for Alex was a strike against him parenting. Mike's jaw clenched. "Bastards. Ben deserved better. You both did." Inside, Eli down for the count, we sat on the fire escape, city lights twinkling like distant fires. Why stick around? I asked, voice low. I'm a mess. Straight guy playing house with his gay brother's kid. He turned, eyes steady. Because you're trying, Logan. That's more than most. His hand brushed mine, electric, tentative, and I didn't pull away. The kiss, when it came, was soft as fog off the river, tasting of espresso and unspoken fears. Not fireworks, but embers, warming the chill I'd carried since Ben's funeral. Sarah's divorce papers arrived a week later, FedEx to the door like a guillotine. I signed them in the lawyer's office, the same firm that buried Dad's estate. Pen shaking as I inked away the life I'd armored myself in. Equitable distribution, my attorney said, all business. House to you, savings split. No alimony, she's got prospects. Prospects. The word mocked me as I wandered Lincoln Park in my mind, our old block with the white picket fence now a ghost town. Back in Brooklyn, Eli sensed the shift, clingier, his tantrums flaring like warnings. Dr. Vasquez upped our sessions. Grief's a thief, she said, as Eli smeared finger paint across my shirt. Steals your old self. Leaves room for new. New came crashing in the form of a leaked photo. Me and Mike at a queer art exhibit Ben had curated posthumously, his paintings alive on the walls, Eli on my hip. The Post ran it, custodians coming out, twin legacy lives on. And the appeals court pounced, subpoenaing Mike for influence. He laughed it off over takeout that night, but his eyes held shadows. I'm not hiding, Logan. But Eli, you sure you're ready for the fallout? Was I? The high point was Eli's second birthday, a small affair in Prospect Park. Balloons tethered to benches, Mrs. Patel's samosas steaming, Alex's sister bringing a cake iced with stars. Mike grilled burgers, his laugh booming as Eli smeared frosting on his nose. For a moment, under the oak trees shedding copper leaves, it felt like family, fractured but fierce. Ben's letter from the wool box sat on the picnic table, open to the line, "Love like I loved you, flaws and all." Then the call, Alex, recovering enough for a supervised visit. The Riveras arranged it at a neutral park, tension thick as humidity. He wheeled in, pale and halting, eyes vacant but kindling when they lit on Eli. "Hey, buddy," he slurred, voice therapy thick. Eli froze, then toddled forward, touching Alex's knee like a question. I hung back, heart pounding. This was it, the test. Could I share? The Riveras hovered, Mrs. R's lips pursed. He's ours by blood. Well, by choice. Alex reached for Eli, who climbed into his lap, babbling nonsense. Tears tracked Alex's cheeks. "Missed you, kiddo. Daddy's here." Daddy. The word gutted me. Ben's shadow loomed, his choice a specter. As the visit ended, Alex gripped my arm, weak but urgent. Ben said, "You. Thank you. No accusations, just grace I didn't earn." The appeal hearing loomed like thunderheads. I prepped with Mike, role-playing objections over midnight coffee, his hand steady on mine. "You're not the villain here," he murmured. "You're the brother who showed up late, but showed up." Court day dawned gray, the Manhattan Federal Building a monolith of marble and menace. The judge, same as before, scanned the room. Me in my best suit, Eli with Mrs. Patel in the gallery, Mike a silent sentinel beside the Riveras. Their lawyer opened. "Mr. Harper's recent associations raise concerns about stability. The child deserves a traditional home." Mike's hand found mine under the bench, anchor in the storm. My turn. I took the stand, voice steady for the first time. I mocked my brother. Called him disgusting for loving a man. Cut him out because I was scared of Dad, of church, of what it said about me, sharing his blood. Gasps rippled. The judge leaned in. But Ben forgave. Built a life of love anyway. Adopted Eli with Alex. Gave him a name, a home. When Ben died, he chose me, not out of spite, but hope. I'm here to honor that. Flaws and all. The Riveras cross burned. Emails, headlines, Sarah's affidavit painting me unstable. "You destroyed your marriage for this," the lawyer sneered. "What makes you think you won't destroy him?" I met his eyes. Because Eli's not a face. He's family. And family fights. The judge ruled recess, but whispers said joint custody leaned my way. Outside, rain sheeting the steps, Mike pulled me into an alcove. "Proud of you," he said, forehead to mine, the echo of Ben and Alex in that old photo. Eli's laughter cut through from Mrs. Patel's arms, pure as bells. But secrets fester. That night, unpacking Ben's last box, a crate from the loft, Eli unearthed a journal, leather-bound, Ben's scrawl spilling confessions. Logan's the only one who ever saw me raw. Wish he'd see himself, braver than he knows. If I go, tell him I loved him first, always. Loved. The word twisted, deep as roots. Had been. No. Twins, mirrors, but lines blurred in youth, shared baths, secrets, that one drunken night post-Dad's funeral where we'd clung too close. Misunderstanding? Or my fear projecting? I slammed the journal shut, heart racing. Dr. Vasquez called it projection next session, your guilt's weaving narratives. Face it, Ben loved you as brother. Let that be enough. Enough. The appeals board conceded days later, primary with me, shared holidays with the Riveras, Alex's visits expanded. Victory tasted bittersweet, champagne flat without Ben to toast. Mike moved in tentatively, his books mingling with Ben's art, Eli calling him Miko with gleeful inaccuracy. Summer swelled, humid and hopeful. We took Eli to Coney Island, the cyclone screams mingling with his delighted shrieks, cotton candy melting on chins. At dusk, on the boardwalk, waves lapping like whispers, Mike knelt. Not proposal, but promise. This, us, Eli, it's real. You in? I pulled him up, kissing salt from his lips, Eli clapping between us. All in. Ben's high trio lingered in dreams. Him whole, laughing, Eli on his shoulders. I'd wake sweating, the journal's words a talisman. Betrayal's echo faded, replaced by rhythm. Therapy breakthroughs, Mike's steady hand. Eli's first, I love you, lisped at bedtime. One crisp October dawn, most romantic I'd known, we picnicked by the East River, blanket spread, Eli napping on a quilt Ben stitched. Mike's head in my lap, fingers tracing my palm, the skyline hazy gold. Feels like home, he murmured. I nodded, tears pricking. It did. Flawed, fierce, finally ours. Fallout from the headlines lingered like smoke after a fire. Charred edges on my career, singed trust in old circles. The firm restructured, code for sidelining me to pro bono family cases, the kind I'd once sneered at as bleeding heart fluff. Build your brand back, the partner advised over scotch in his corner office, view sprawling over the loop like a conqueror's map. Or pivot. New York's got opportunities for the right narrative. Narrative. The word soured on my tongue as I packed files into a duffel, Eli's daycare pickup looming. Back in Brooklyn, the sublet had bloomed into something resembling home. Mike's vinyl collection stacked against Ben's easel, Eli's crayon murals papering the fridge. But stability's fragile as spun sugar. The Rivera's first holiday visit Thanksgiving. Neutral ground at Mrs. Patel's, unraveled fast. Eli, turkey-stuffed and cranky, clung to me, burying his face in my neck as Mrs. R cooed too brightly. Come to Grandma, Mijo. He wailed, and her face crumpled, mask slipping to reveal the grief beneath. He doesn't know us, Mr. R muttered, carving knife hovering. Alex, sharper now but fragile, reached across the table. Give it time, Ma. Logan's. He's good with him. Good. The word hung, a fragile truce. We talked haltingly. Ben's hidden chemo, Alex's rehab milestones, the accident's blur, icy bridge, swerving truck, Ben's last words gasped in the ER, Eli. Logan. Shared pain forged tentative bonds, but as pie steamed untouched, Mrs. R's eyes narrowed on Mike, serving seconds. And you? Part of this. Arrangement. Mike's smile didn't waver. If Logan wants. Eli's family includes me. She nodded curtly, but later, in the kitchen, she cornered me. Ben chose you out of blood. Don't let distractions ruin that boy. Distractions. The slur sliced deep, echoing Dad's ghost. I bit back retort, for Eli, for peace, but it festered, poisoning the drive home through sodium-lit streets. Mike sensed it, hand on my thigh at a red light. Breathe. She's scared, like you were. Scared. Yeah. Of losing Eli to a life she deemed lesser, just as I'd lost Ben to my own fears. Therapy unpacked it, Dr. Vasquez drawing circles on her notepad. Fear's vicious cycle. Break it, Logan. Model different. Modeling started small, enrolling Eli in a diverse preschool in Bed-Stuy, where kids swapped stories in Spanglish and Mandarin, rainbows chalked on sidewalks without irony. Mike and I navigated us. Date nights at hole-in-the-wall Ticarius, where his knee brushed mine under Formica tables. Conversations dipping into depths. His coming out at 16, disowned then reclaimed. My buried curiosities, post-divorce flings that blurred lines before Mike grounded me. But conflict brewed darker. A letter arrived mid-December, anonymous postmark from Chicago. Sarah's handwriting, elegant loops spilling venom. Heard about your boyfriend. Fitting. Always chasing Ben's shadow. Eli deserves better than a poser playing house. I'll fight for custody if I have to. For the family we planned. Poser. The accusation detonated. Sarah, who'd nodded through my rants on Ben, now weaponizing them? I called her, voice venomous over the line. You left, remember? Signed away rights. This is low, even for you. Her laugh cracked. Low? You threw us away for a dead man's whim. Eli's straight blood. Mine too, if we'd had kids. Don't corrupt him. Corrupt. The word ignited old flames. I hung up, slamming cabinets until Mike pulled me outside, Eli asleep inside. Under street lamps, breath fogging, I confessed the letter, the threat. She's right. What if I'm screwing him up? Teaching him to hide, like Ben did. Mike cupped my face, thumbs rough from barista shifts. You're teaching him truth. That's the opposite of hiding. His kiss was fierce, claiming, pulling me from the brink. But doubt lingered, a shadow puppeteer. The new year brought escalation. Sarah's lawyer petitioned intervention, citing my unconventional household as unstable. Hearings stacked like storm clouds. The judge, new this time, a hawkish man with a bow tie, probing Mike's role like it was contraband. Mr. Harper, your brothers will specified family. Does this? Partner qualify. I stood tall. Family's chosen, Your Honor. Ben taught me that. The gallery murmured. Alex, testifying via video from rehab, backed me. Mike's solid. Loves the kid like his own. Sarah's testimony gutted. Tearful, poised in pearls, painting our marriage as idol shattered by my obsession. I want Eli safe. Traditional. With me, or kin who share values. Values. The hypocrisy burned. Her evangelical upbringing. The same soil that grew my prejudices. Climax crested in a blizzard-ravaged February court, winds howling like banshees outside. Eli waited in the green room with Mrs. Patel, his drawing, a stick-figure family with 3 daddies, clutched in my briefcase. Sarah's lawyer called a surprise witness, my old college roommate, dredged from obscurity, swearing I'd once slurred queers at keggers. Logan's changed, he scoffed. Doubt it. The room spun. Lies. Memory? Didn't matter, it fed the narrative. Recess hit. In the hall, Mike gripped my arm. Fight dirty if you have to. Eli's worth it. Back on the stand, I channeled Ben's fire. Yeah, I was an asshole. Mocked my twin for being gay because I was terrified. Of him, of me. Cut ties, built a life on denial. Ben? He lived true. Adopted Eli with love that bent, but never broke. Sarah wants to save him from that. From me? She's the ghost now, clinging to a past that choked us all. The judge adjourned, but whispers favored dismissal. Sarah cornered me post-hearing, snow crusting her boots. This isn't you, Logan. Come back. We can co-parent, real family. I met her eyes, seeing the girl I'd loved, fractured by the same fears. It is me, Sarah. Finally, Eli stays. Dismissal came swift, her petition tossed for lack of standing. Relief flooded, but victory's aftertaste was ash. Lost friends, a firm transfer to a smaller NYC outpost, Mike's quiet worry over my warrior mode burning out. Spring thawed the ice, literally and not. Eli's first park baseball game, gloves swallowing his hand, Mike coaching with exaggerated slides. Deeper cuts healed slow. Ben's journal revealed more. Entries on unrequited crushes, but none on me. Brotherly love, pure, the misunderstanding mine alone, born of guilt's funhouse mirror. I burned the doubt pages in a coffee can on the fire escape, ashes swirling like released sins. Human moments anchored. Eli's preschool play, him as a tree in a forest of felt leaves, beaming when I hooped loudest. Mike's proposal came casual, over diner pancakes, ring in a napkin twist. Marry me? Make it official, for the paperwork, for us. I said yes with syrup-sticky lips, Eli smearing hearts on our hands. The wedding was small, Prospect Park under dogwoods. Alex in a wheelchair giving a toast to love that endures. Ben smiling. Eli, 3 now, toddled as ring bearer, dropping petals like blessings. Vows exchanged, simple. I choose you, flaws and future. The kiss sealed it. Mike's lips warm, crowd cheering, Eli's yay, piercing the air. Post-honeymoon, a quiet cabin in the Catskills, Eli chasing fireflies. We settled into rhythm. My practice shifted to LGBTQ plus advocacy, pro bono Ben's legacy. Sarah sent a card, tentative olive branch. Happy for you. Aunt Sarah someday? I replied yes, bridges mending slow. One golden evening, most romantic reborn, we watched sunset from the bridge, Eli on Mike's shoulders, my hand in his. We made it, I whispered. He squeezed. We did. Brothers forever. Ben's echo. Forgiveness not given, but lived. In Eli's laughter, Mike's touch, the city's hum. We thrived, human, whole. Years folded like origami, sharp creases softening with time's patient hand. By Eli's 5th birthday, the loft was ours outright. Ben's canvases rotated on walls like guardians, Mike's record players spinning jazz under the eaves. I'd made partner at the new firm, a scrappy queer rights outfit in Chelsea, cases stacking like cordwood, custody battles mirroring mine, adoption appeals echoing Ben's fight. You're the firm's secret weapon, my boss joked, a dyke with tattoos older than me. Straight passing charm with a convert's fire. Convert. The label chafed, but truth in it. I'd evolved, not flipped. Mike and I navigated the gray. His pride parades where I'd march awkward but earnest. My old football buddies' reunions where I'd dodge beer pong for bench chats on loss. Eli bridged it all, his questions probing like Ben's old sketches. Why 2 daddies for me? But Jimmy's got a mommy and daddy. We'd field them over dinner, honest as we could. Families come in all shapes, bud. Yours is the best fit. The Riveras wove and seasonal. Thanksgivings at their queen's spread, laden with pernil and plantains. Alex stronger yearly, his limp a badge. Misses are thawed gradual, baking Eli arepas, slipping me rosaries for luck. Once, post a tense call with Sarah, her visits sporadic, laced with passive digs, she pulled me aside. I was wrong, Mijo. About you. Ben. He'd approve. Approval. Ben's ghost approved daily. In Eli's hazel stare during story time, reciting Ben's tales of Uncle Logan's wild pitches. We'd visit his grave in Greenwood, Eli placing daisies, Mike and I holding hands silent. Miss you. I'd murmur to the stone. Wind rustled leaves. Answer enough. Conflict resurfaced sly, in fractures unseen. Mike's gallery landed a solo show, his photos, intimate portraits of found families, Eli's blur of curls a centerpiece. Critics raved, but sales lagged. Whispers of agenda art soured bids. One night, post a scathing review in the Times, sentimental pandering to the rainbow crowd. He shattered a frame, glass spiderwebbing. They see pity, not power. Like Ben's work, brilliant, but gay, so niche. I held him as sobs shook, echoing my own breakdowns. Screw them. You're seen, by us. We made love slow after, rediscovering in the dark, but dawn brought resolve. I leveraged firm contacts for a donor gala, packing the space with allies. The night hummed, champagne flutes clinking, Eli in tiny bow-tie charming collectors. A bid war erupted for Mike's Eli portrait. It sold for 5 figures, his grin triumphant as we danced cheek to cheek, Eli spinning between. Betrayal's final ghost, Sarah's wedding invite, summer 29. She'd remarried. An accountant named Tom, stable stock, her email winked. Eli and I flew Midwest, Mike bowing out gracious. Your history, babe. Chicago sweltered, the ceremony in a lakeside pavilion, Sarah radiant in lace. At the reception, under fairy lights, she pulled me to the dock. He's grown. Looks like Ben. Like us, I corrected. Her eyes glistened. I was scared, Logan. Of change. Forgive. I hugged her, salt wind whipping. Already did. Aunt forever. She nodded, tears mingling. Tom waved Eli over for cake. The boy went, easy as breathing. Closure, not conquest. Back east, life deepened. Eli started kindergarten, backpack sagging. First day, nerves melting into playground tales. Mike and I adopted a rescue mutt. Ben, Rechristened with a wagging tail, Eli's shadow companion. Therapy tapered, Dr. Vasquez declaring us battle-tested. But psychological depths plumbed in quiet. Nightmares of Ben's crash, me too late. Mike's abandonment scars flaring in crowds. We'd unpack over rooftop stargazing, vulnerability our North Star. Climax revisited in autumn 30, a call-shattering Shabbat dinner. Alex, relapse stroke, critical. The Riveras begged. Eli needs to say goodbye. We drove through leaf-choked highways, Eli clutching Ben the dog's leash. Hospital sterile, beeps underscoring fragility. Alex rallied brief, eyes clearing on Eli. Big guy now. Proud. To me. You saved us, Hermano. Ben's gift. He slipped peaceful, dawn-breaking. Funeral-fused faiths. Catholic mass bleeding into Shiva. Eulogies weaving Ben and Alex's tapestry. Eli placed stones on both graves, whispering, "Love you forever." Mrs. R. clung post-burial. Custody. With you. Family now. Grief's wave-crested raw. Eli's questions relentless. Mike and I tag-teaming tears. But humanism bloomed in the wake. A foundation in Ben and Alex's name. Funding queer adoptions. Mike's photos its banner. Eli drew posters. Crayons fierce. Stick figures linked. Rainbows arching. The most romantic scene etched eternal that spring. Central Park. Cherry blossoms shedding pink snow. Eli racing kites with neighborhood kids. Mike and I on a bench, his head on my shoulder, fingers laced. 10 years, he murmured. From barista crush to this. I kissed his temple, Eli's whoop carrying on wind. Best plot twist. Ben's laugh ghosted the breeze, approval, enduring. Eli grew, a whirlwind of soccer cleats and science fairs, his coming out at 12 gentle. Like Uncle Ben? We nodded, arms open. No mockery, no cuts, just love, unconditional. At 40, gray threading my temples, I stood at Ben's grave again, Eli beside, tall now, voice deepening. You raised me right, Dad. Mike waited by the car, our home a beacon. I'd mocked, severed, begged. But in the mending, we all rose. Human, scarred, sublime. Ben's legacy, not perfection, but persistence. And in that, grace enough for lifetimes.